Welcome, everyone. I know we're still arriving, but thank you all for being here. We'll give it just a minute or two for everyone to get in and get settled. If we were at the library for our usual library arts walk events, this is the time we would all be finding our seats and saying hi to each other. And I'm really looking forward to a time when we can go back to doing that and seeing each other in person. So looks like we've got a few folks here. So we'll go ahead and get started. So welcome, and thank you all again for joining us tonight for our first Thursday's Arts Walk at Home presentation with the Riverside Public Library. Tonight's event features poet and educator Romaine Washington. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Katie Porter, and I'm Executive Director of Inlandia, and we are a literary and cultural arts nonprofit based in inland Southern California. Before we begin, Inlandia Institute respectfully acknowledges and recognizes our responsibility to the original and current caretakers of this land, water, and air, the Cahuilla, Tongva, Luiseno, and Serrano peoples, and all of their ancestors and descendants, past, present, and future. Today, the Inlandia region is home to many Indigenous peoples from all over the world, and we express our gratitude to them for allowing us the opportunity to live and work on these homelands. Tonight's event is in honor of Black History Month and celebrates the Black Lives Matter movement. Last year, Romaine read for us at the same time at the same event, but in the library proper. And since the pandemic, a new main library has been under construction, and we do look forward to holding our events there in the new space at some time, hopefully later this year. By now, I think most of us have heard the name Black Lives Matter, but we might not know what the origins are. So just a very brief synopsis. Black Lives Matter was founded in 2013 by three radical Black organizers, Alicia Garza, Patrice Collins, and Opal Tometi. And together they created a Black-centered political will and movement building project they called #Black Lives Matter. It was in response to the acquittal of Trayvon Martin's murderer, George Zimmerman. The project is now a member-led global network of more than 40 chapters. Members organize and build local power to intervene in violence inflicted on Black communities by the state and vigilantes. And if you'd like to learn more about them and how you can get involved, please visit blacklivesmatter.com, which is where I got this information tonight. Black Lives Matter. Inlandia Institute stands against white supremacy and condemns police brutality and violence against the Black community everywhere. In response to the death of George Floyd last year, Inlandia founded a new series of events to lift up Black voices called Blacklandia. Curated by a new Black Voices Steering Committee, these events are by and for Inlandia's Black community members and our community at large. And tonight's event is part of that Blacklandia series. So after our featured reader, we will have a short open mic. If you have not already signed up for the open mic and would like to read, please send me a direct message in the chat. If you did sign up, know I have your name. And I know one of you I spoke to, but I don't know that you officially signed up, but I have you on our list. And so now a little about our featured author. Romaine Washington is the author of Purgatory Has an Address, which is forthcoming from Bamboo Dart Press on April 15th, and Sirens in Her Belly, which was published in 2015 by Jammy Publications. She's been published in a wide variety of anthologies and periodicals, including Inlandia's San Bernardino Singing Anthology, which was edited by Nakia Cheney, and Choya Needles, issues 32, 36, and 39, edited by Richard Seuss. And she has presented her work in a wide variety of venues, including NPR and KPFK. She's a fellow of the Watering Hole, South Carolina, and the Inland Area Writing Project of the University of California in Riverside. She enjoys actively participating in the writing community through workshops and readings, and is a member of Women Who Submit. Some of you may know her as our San Bernardino writing workshop leader at the Roe Branch Library. Washington has been a public educator for over 20 years, and she's developed a social justice curriculum available for free on her website. So without further ado, we welcome Romaine. Thank you for joining us tonight, Romaine. And unmute. It's okay. It's okay.
Thank you for hosting this, and thank you for being a place in San Bernardino County in the Inland Empire that, oh, I have this thing on my, I'm sorry, on the Zoom, that hosts a variety of events that give voice to people who otherwise wouldn't have a voice in this area. So I really appreciate that. I'm going to start on a journey, and hopefully the journey will go smooth as I planned. I'm going to start us off with the smallest of minds when you're very young and you are impressed by the things around you, even if you don't understand them. And so we are going to start off with Profile, August 1965. Top insurance saleswoman, coiffed, red pumps with lipstick to match. She does not gun the engine, but drives with bullet speed in her pearl white tail-finned Cadillac. Sweat and gasoline perfumes the air. Time explodes like a meteor, a burst of brilliance drifting into a whimper, the bashing of heads. Burn, baby, burn, flashes like the sheen of her red pumps. Burn, baby, burn, races with the fury of a caddy down our dead-end street. Burn, baby, burn, into the retina of my heart. Black and white riot flames across our TV. As mom puffs on cigarettes, smoke bathes her hair. Ashes weep in trays about the house we dare not leave. I will never be only a little girl again. Innocence is a place burning and ravaged. And for those of you who may not know, 1965 was the Watts riots. So going from that to still being a little girl, and let's see, I'm looking for, I have things kind of, try putting it on the speaker view. Is this to me? I see, I'm looking at things in the chat here.
Oh, no, sorry, Romaine. That was to a viewer who says I am on the screen, which is hopefully not the case for everyone. If it is, please speak up, but the spotlight should be on you, Romaine.
Let's see, I can see you and Janine there, but that's, hi.
Hi. We're at the top, but you shouldn't see us.
Oh, gotcha, okay. So now we're going to go to another childhood experience. And this is interesting, I think, mainly, not so much the poem, I'm not giving commentary on my own poetry, but rather on Black women's hair. And our hair has been politicized as long as we've been in America. You know, from Madam C.J. Walker, who became a millionaire from straightening hair, to the goddess braids, to, right now I wear locks, sister locks. And so my first experience of hair and really paying attention to its impact is called Gargoyles and Goddesses. Mom's perm potion to magically take my hair from afro crown to Rapunzel flow was a smoldering disaster that summer. I shed from shoulder length to two tiny perpendicular pigtails on either side of my toothless 7-year-old smiling brown face. To not feel so alone, I cut the hair off all my dolls, not in some styled page boy coif. These perfect plastics were butchered in a blonde Don King heap of who cares. When school started, I was greeted with laughter, with grunts of disgust, and christened ugly. At recess, I sat on the bench under the canopy with the girl taller than anyone in our class and the girl rounder than anyone in our class. And I watched the desired girls giggle and run and whisper to one another, looking our way. Looking at the boys, I decided that I too wanted to play. When I joined in, girls ran behind me and the boys ran around me as though I was a castle wall, as though my head was a gargoyle perched, ready to devour them with my toothless roaring laugh. The boys would run away and I became a safe place. Girls with long hair scampered, squealing to hide behind me as the boys ran towards them. I would growl as if I truly was a bronze gargoyle come to life. And the boys ran away in fear of being touched by someone unprettied. I'd raise my arms high and curl my fingers as though I had claws. They'd run when I gave my toothless dragon growl. They'd run as though I had daggers or a gun. And I enlisted the help of the too tall girl and the too round girl on our parochial school ground. We became protectors, the safe place for all that is good, from all that is evil and dangerous. And we belonged. We're a necessary force between good and evil. Invincible, we three christened ourselves Artemis, Athena, and Hestia, untouchable. So that is my ousting or with hair. And I'm going to go from there to a further social encounter. I kind of go on this journey. Let me see, I have poems kind of here and there to take us where I want to get us. And I usually at this time, it's interesting reading on Zoom because I like to have conversation with the listeners and I can't. So let's see, I'm looking for All American Pastime, which was published in Choya Needles. And so I have the 3 Choya Needles books out and I'm getting there, and I think I'm here. Yes, I am. This is All American Pastime. We stand packed, 14 to 17 years old, at the downtown San Bernardino bus stop. Sun, a blaring white ball of rays, beating us like a bat till skin bleeds sweat, mouths full of sizzling phlegm. Boys hack and spit on the sidewalk. Cop strolls up, book in hand, demands names, presses tickets in Black boys' palms. Penal code, illegal to spit in public. We spit protest, sunflower seed chomping, tobacco chewing ballers spit, boxers rinse and spit, footballers rinse and spit. Cop blank stares us, hand on belt. He turns his head, spits a blaring white ball. Foul on the way home, No umpire to intervene. We retreat to benches, learning the first strategy in survival is knowing who not to trust. The loud buzz of a fat fly threatens us to swat. The second strategy in survival is knowing when to swing. So this continues the journey from being little and not being aware of racial, well, you see the racial disparities and the rioting on TV, but not really aware, and then being confronted with officers who are starting to put young teen boys in the system for spitting on the sidewalk. So, and we see how the tensions go. The next poem, since this is, the next poem is Incident in Blue. And this is many, many, many years later. And this is not my experience. This is my son's experience, which is even harder than if you were going through it. I know where this poem is. This poem is right here. And I have a quote from Incident in Blue. It's not from Incident in Blue, it's from a book, a wonderful book about libraries actually, and about their social structure, and about how important it is to have community and trust. And democracy must begin at home, and its home is the neighborly community. Maybe the dog pissed on the carpet one too many times that morning when the neighbor saw my son in the hot tub. May as well clean both up. The police is called as my son's head leaned back on his shoulders, eyes closed, chest expanding in the water. The sun is God and he is God's well-baked son. Eyes closed, steeping like a soaked chamomile tea bag, ready for dreams. Eyes open. Two police stiffly stand over him. Get out of the jacuzzi, sir. He is yanked into a nightmare. The sun shifts to shadows on the pavement. My bare chest, barefoot, walletless son stepped out calmly, made sure not to give the illusion of a weapon, do nothing to make them nervous. We had a complaint from the complex about a vagrant in the jacuzzi, and the sun is yellow dog piss raining on him. Voice clear, but not too firm. I live here. I can take you to my condo. My son's hazel eyes scan neighbors' windows. Police are relaxed and satisfied. On the phone, I hear rage shaking in his voice. I'm no punk, in no mood to see you. I look like Mr. Clean, but I'm no punk. His mind paces. A neighbor called the police. I gotta calm down. I can feel his tears punching holes in walls. I'm no punk, had to stay calm. The police, I gotta calm down, but not today. Whew, I almost get teary-eyed sharing that one because I hate that he went through that experience. So I'm calming down now. The next poem I'm going to read to you or share with you is, I'm sorry, is from, I know which one it's in. Again, Choya Needles. And since I was published in 3 of them, it's a matter of finding the right ones. I probably should have color coded the Post-it notes. That would have helped. And this is about the time I usually ask if there's any questions, but I'm going to go to Brer Boombox. And Brer Boombox, I don't know how many of you know about, there used to be Brer Rabbit. There used to be rides and things at Disneyland that had it. It was from an old African folk tales. And so the Brer brother, shortened for brother, was a trickster. And this is Brer Boombox. We all have a trickster, a cool guy that's in the classroom or in the community. Leroy and them got clean, wild laughs, like air full of jokes and afro picks. I never hear they mama tell them be safe, come home, but no she do. They a little older than me, don't really know them, but feel like I do, like the bus be a 200-year-old boat we've been riding too long. I lean my head full of tired sun against the window. Bus stop, door belches open. Leroy and them loud talking, thud walking, claim territory in the back of the bus. Boom box blasting, wave your hands in the air. Feel like there's no air in here. But Leroy laughed like cool grass and green trees. Hey driver, why we ain't got no air in here? Black Mac, our regular driver, would have made a joke like he be part of we, be fam. Leroy would lean back, put headphones on, bop, quiet smile, satisfied. 2. Hank is white shirt, small frame, looking like sweat, don't know his name. Type of man who might chuckle, but never heave a full laugh. If he did, you might think he was passing gas. Wasn't one of us in talk, skin, deed, or thought, never had to strategize to get what he want. He rear viewing Leroy without a clue of what to say or do. You need to hold down that noise. You're disturbing the other passengers. Leroy laughs a little too loud and long. Hank's face is beat, but he don't call for backup, does not back up, stands his ground. He parks. White Pants walks stern to the back of the bus, orders Leroy and them, kill the sound or get off. Leroy and them look like they murdered just for fun. Who you think you talking to, little man? I paid like everybody else. Go on up and drive. No one say nothing. I face forward. Quick scuffle. Leroy and them jump off the bus. Afro picks bobbing in the air. Boombox clutched to chest. Bass beating fear in feet. They fly into invisible. I want to say, Leroy, this ain't what it means to be a man. But that moment be gone. I stare at flies, hovering over stabbed beads of blood on the bus floor. This is one of the poems that will also be in Purgatory Has an Address, as well as Incident and All-American Pastime and Gargoyles and Goddesses. So just about everything that I've read so far, except for Profile August 1965, which was in Sirens in Her Belly. So I so want to look at the chat. I usually, I'm a teacher, and so I've been on Zoom all day today until 2 o'clock, and my class communicates to me through the chat, and so I'm so, wanting to stop and look there, but I'm going to keep rolling. I'm going to switch now. Oh, yes, I'm going to switch to another tone about my grandmother. And this again goes back to hair, but it also goes to time. And let me see if I have it here. It's not the one that I want, but I don't know if I'm going to find it. If not, I will go with that one. Anybody that's written and revised, you usually will have, I usually have 5 or 6 copies of poems as I continue to improve the poems. And So I'm looking for the most recent version, but I guess I will go with what I have. And this one is called the Smoke of Patchouli. And this too is in Purgatory Has an Address. So it's almost like I'm doing a pre-publication read. Nana and I relax in a patchouli incense thread of smoke floating through our hair, braided with fingers and time. With Nana, there is always time. A 2-mile afternoon stroll to Barbara Ann Sunshine Bakery and back home, warm and heavy with sleep, we wake on front porch swing, aproned by the sugar silk scent of apricot, coral, and crimson colored rose bushes. In cool, almost dew dusk, we snap green beans. I'm going to stop this one. This is not the one I want. I'm so sorry. I'm going to back it up because I'm trying, in my mind, I'm trying to, this too was published in Choya Needles. So I'm going to find that version of it and share that version with you. I'll feel a little bit more comfortable. And just like in the editing process, sometimes you edit and it gets better, and sometimes you edit and you have to go back and put things in that you've taken out. And so that was the case with this one. Here we go. Nana, Romaine, and I relax in a patchouli incense thread of smoke, floating through our hair braided with fingers in time. With Nana, there is always time. A 2-mile afternoon stroll to Barbara Ann Sunshine Bakery, coming home warm and heavy with sleep. Front porch evenings, aproned by the silk scent of yellow and pink rose bushes. In the cool, almost dew, we snapped green beans. Cooking is as much a part of Nana's home as floor and walls. Late night pancakes, fried chicken and mashed potato mornings, sugar dipped dried oranges, and pickled watermelon rinds. Nana and I eat what we want when we want. Hours and days melt into obsession as we unbox time in 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzles, memorizing edges, intricate rose gardens, blue and white and blue and white and blue and white, sky pieces that almost fit, but not quite. A collage of thimbles, dollies melting clocks, melting time into a stream where memory stretches time, weaves itself in and out of synapses through decades, as though Nana was there when I was born, pouring soft questions into my eyes. And so that's a tribute to my Nana. And that too is in Purgatory Has an Address. Let's see here. I think now I'm doing something I normally do, which is decide to read something that I hadn't put on the list of things to read. Oh, I'm doing pretty good with time. This one's called It's a Nappy Shame. Let me make sure it's all on here. Yep. And this is going back to the theme of hair. And the reason why I'm doing that is I've been going to a Saturday workshop on for Black women on rage. And one of the things that struck me was the very first session, and that is by Lydia, and she is still accepting people coming in. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, little plug for Lydia. And the very first session that we had, all of us began talking about hair. And no matter how many times I think, oh, nobody wants to hear about it, Whenever there's a group of us together, it comes up, and rightfully so. It wasn't until 2019, and it's really silly, in California, we had to have a law passed that said that African Americans could wear their hair natural in the workplace without concern of being written up for looking unprofessional. So yes, it's still an issue. And I wrote this poem, about 5 years ago. I used to host a group of African American ladies in my classroom, and they would talk about different issues. And one day, the topic of hair came up. And as they talked, I typed. And so this is a compilation, kind of verbal found poem from their conversation. It's a nappy shame, more than hair. She say she wanna have white people hair. She say, how you get yours? You mixed? If your hair is so long, why you wear braids? I wish mine long and curly, long and straight, long and long and long, she cried. She cried tears as long as she want her hair to be. She is braided. Her hair is braided, tangled up in tangles, shackled hair. There are bruises in her hair. She is in the sorrow of kinks caught in comb, a science project touched to see how it feels to be touched, petted, and questioned why. Why isn't your hair like the other Black girl's hair? Why you not straight and straight? Why you kinky? Kinky? Taboo. We need a hair revolution where we can be politic power 70s with a panther pick. Gonna pick that? No. Just soft twisted fro, not too threatening. A little castor oil, a little coconut, fingers combed gently, just a little, so I can get caught. A long, long, long flow of hair. Don't want to be nappy, knotted, coming out at the root. She talk about water in her hair soak up like a sponge. Shriveled, wrung out, blow dried, weaved, ripples waving, braids trying to figure out how to be straight. Remy, Kanekalon, mixed hair straight. Gotta be straight, hid in hoodie so no one sees I'm not straight. Straight like Barbie, straight like Beyonce, straight like Kerry Washington, straight like Instagram snaps, naps, finger combed, don't care who stares. One day, one day. So that was from this generation, because sometimes we hear, there'll be a complaint and someone will say, oh, that's your generation, or that's an older generation. And unfortunately, things don't stop just because, generations change. So, having said that, and talking about generations, I think I'm going to go to my last 4 poems. Yes. And this poem, I have been working on this poem for forever. I went to a writer's retreat in South Carolina in 2017. And I had an experience there while I was in the hotel, and it struck me, the visuals and just the encounter. And I really felt a part of this person. And I want to say a couple of things. I want to rewind a little bit, going back to the experience on the bus and the experience, both of them at the bus stop and Brer Boombox. If you've read How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi, he talks a lot about healing, but he also talks a lot about honesty with oneself, whether it's you dealing with your own racial identity and sometimes prejudices you have within yourself against other people of the same color, or Whether you're talking about seeing another person of color and deeply identifying with them as though they were family. And so, whether they were right or wrong, just like family, you identify, you have a bond, you want to protect. And so that was the bus stop experiences earlier. And in the book, his book, he talks about bus stop experiences also, or bus experiences also, and his realizations from those. So I preface that to say that in this hotel room, I had another one of those experiences. Um, Black back bent, she rolls her burdened vacuum, more noise than suction, over a stain smothered rug. Black back bent, lugs a mop full of mud colored water across the bathroom floor that reeks of mildewed rain. 200 plus years in the falling, seems not much has changed. The folding of clean linen for strangers in someone else's room, muscles moved by rote, a limber memory from another century. Black back bent, her wiry frame attached to a pound of keys jangling from her waist. Black back bent, thin, moist, biscuit colored hands shimmy a duster across hard surfaces. I want to invite her to sit a while, tell her a story to make her laugh like sun ray between walnut trees. I want her to rest a while, fill the tub with lavender water, brush her too busy hair into a bergamot sleep, massage the ache from between her knuckles, tell her it is someone else's turn, nurture her as though she were my grandmother, my aunt, me, in not so many years, trying to scrape enough scum from the rim of tubs to eat, black back bent. She keeps her hands on knees for strength enough to hoist herself up, recites a Sunday school story about being beat down but rising up, winks at me. Remember Psalm 23? His rod and staff comfort me. God is the great pool stick, maneuvering us folks, bouncing everywhere in and out of pockets. This here keeps my pockets full of time, unalone, meeting folks like you. She rocks herself up, black back bent, rolls the cleaning cart out the room, a distant jangle of keys. Even now, the scent of rosewater and sweat, 200 years plus in the falling. So, and when I started writing this and writing about her, I had named her Aunt Rose. So I still have that name. I want to say for Aunt Rose, wherever she is. And this one is a rewrite. I'm still in the process of rewriting this poem, and hopefully I have it close to where I want it to be. This was in the anthology San Bernardino Singing, and it was a shorter poem. And so here it is, elongated, and hopefully I'll feel satisfied with it as I read this out loud. Thank you, Judy. Stern Beauty, Miss Mary's Library. Before there was the For Real first library in 1977, the For Real first Black library in 1977, named after iconic Dr. Dorothy Ingram, first Black teacher and principal in San Bernardino, first Black superintendent in California, who lived to be 107 years old before her library. I named mine after your sepia washed photo hanging high above me like the queen of all knowledge. Your tinted glass doors greeted me, a cool surrender with each step into your house of bound beauty. You never spoke, but I could hear your encouragement through mother's nod, grandmother's smile. I devoured books like pink cotton candy at the Orange Show. From Nancy Drew to Langston Hughes, your regal stern presence followed me with expectation I dare not disappoint. Years later, when I came to visit you, Library archivist denies my reality, says you never existed. Summer Readers Club, heroine of academics, entrepreneur, philanthropist, library did not exist, corrects what I claim, says Mary Kellogg was the name. Flakes of memory free fall from girl with bird wing braids, staring at buffoon in an oval frame. So I had renamed the Mary Kellogg Library to the Mary McLeod Bethune-Cookman Library in my mind. I envisioned this, I don't even know if the library had a frame of Miss Mary on the wall, but when I think about that library, that's what I think about. Um, so memory is quite interesting. And then when you talk about othering or being marginalized, even as I was taking English classes in college, even as I was reading Jane Austen, I made the characters Black in my head, even the Jane Austen characters Black in my head to be able to relate to them. So, and I give that advice to some of my students who, when we're reading something and they're saying, I can't relate to this, I'll say, well, imagine that they're a person of color, it might help you. So that was the Mary McLeod, the Mary Kellogg Library, the Miss Mary's Library. So I can call it Miss Mary's Library and be inclusive. I have, it seems like I had one more poem that I was working on. I did, okay. So this too is one of those poems that I wanted to share for Black Lives Matters, Black History Month. And one of the things that I'm going to encourage everybody to do that I'm doing for Black History Month is to think of somebody every day, that's 28 days, from Black history or current, because I love James Baldwin says we carry our history in us. So think of somebody that you admire, a person of color that you admire, and just sit and maybe look up something about them and think about them, maybe jot down a couple of lines about them. Thank you. So this one is, I pulled a quote from Audre Lorde, one of my favorite writers. We are powerful and dangerous. Our voting voice must be heard. As Fannie Lou Hamer say, we build our own power. Chisholm chisels away unbound and unbossed her bio of being the first Black woman elected to Congress, the first Black woman to run for the highest office. No Black girl magic brought us here. Womanist warriors Tubman each other to safe ground, where hashtag Me Too Tarana Burke open arm heal us to speak against the brutal silence of shame. We weapon up in strategy, expose eyes that undress, words that molest, status quo mindset of misogyny. We warrior women fight in unity in the voting booths of Alabama, a mighty roar of no more. We march a circle of safety around our daughters and sons. Rebuild boundaries, though we cannot resurrect their bodies, we resurrect their names. From Trayvon Martin's hoodie, Garza, Kohlers, to Mehdi, organize a movement. In George Floyd's dying breath, we walked the world 7 times over, demanding to be heard despite the threat of pandemic death. From Stacey Abrams' red Georgia clay to a blue promise of Kamala Harris is no Black magic, is a relentless labor bearing down to get up, show up, do the work, do the work, do the work. Ain't no magic incantation. Sandra Bland is demanding we remain unfadable and ready to do the work. So. I got chills in that. So I think I did that one right, that rewrite. Thank you. I'm reading some of the comments in the chat as I'm really programmed to do, as I usually do. Oh my goodness, I am kind of going a little faster than I thought. So I do have more poems on the ready. Let's see here. Because I have one poem, I guess I could do this poem that a friend of mine is always requesting. I'll do it. I didn't even want to find it tonight. I was like, I don't want to do that poem, but I'll do it. This is, thank you, the ideal Black man. A lot of times women will get together and they're like, there ain't no good Black man around, and commiserate, especially when things aren't going well or you're single and you're feeling your options are few. And so I thought I need to think about at least the ideal package. So this is my ideal package, sort of, kind of. It's called Authentic. He don't wear kente cloth. He is the original fabric. He walk with sun-crowned beaming aura. He got international currency in his stroll and a extra chakra marked creativity in the center of his spine. He is the evolution of language ciphering divine, consonants consummating new meanings. He is his own dictionary beyond labels and labeling. Though media try, he be the quintessential definition of define. He don't speak the language, he is the language. Lips loaded with heavy artillery, life and death in the power of the tongue. Word is bond and beyond hieroglyphic revelation. He birthed families in revolutionary celebration, verbal improvisation, build a hip hop nation within a nation, take the roots of history, manifest griot humanity, straight from the source, dread him a new destiny, 'cause he be all that. Oh yes, he be all that on the yang side, and on the yin side, he know how to wash dishes, cook meals, and care about how we feel. He is the response and responsibility, ability he has to meet he need, me need, we need unity to community, communicating, visionary, revelating, show enough, strong stuff, tough when he need to be, mentor when he see a need, knowledge dropping, planting seeds, harvest sharing, strong arm Karen. He don't wear kente cloth. He is the original fabric, and the weave cannot be unraveled. It is the weave of ancestral choir, the sinew and blood of primordial tribes. From earth shaped he in him big strong hand, man intimately woven. And the color of the fabric is rich and Black. The feel of the fabric is faithful and Black. The scent of the fabric is kind and Black. The sound of the fabric is Black. And the weave cannot be unraveled because he don't wear kente cloth. He is the original fabric. And his name is Father, Brother, Friend, Lover, our men. And his name is Father, Brother, Friend, Lover, our men. And his name is Father, Brother, Friend, Lover, our men. So that's authentic. And, oh, I forgot my name is a banjo. And I have enough time for that. My name is a banjo is also going to be in the new book, Purgatory Has an Address. And this is a combination of some of the poems in there have to come from the fact that I come from a closed adoption. And back in the day, it was customary to have closed adoptions, which means that you can never find out who your birth parents are. The records are sealed. You have to go to court and you have to have a good reason for them to unseal the records. Or They have, your parents or siblings, which I have siblings, I found out, have to be looking for you, and then you meet. But it's hard to do that when you don't know what your birth name was. So um, it comes from that. And it comes from, to be honest, I was reading Yagiasi's book, her first book, and I so love her name and I so love the journey. And so I just finished reading the book. So it's a combination of those and then the myth that one can create for oneself when you don't know your origins. And it's my name is a banjo. I hear melon ripe names of African writers and wonder what sounds would conjure my spirit. Would I smile the same yes as when the world cooed into the tiny rivers of question marks, of naming things as though they were the sound of footprints in eyes? I'm supposed to feel something, some connection to remind me that mama voice is God and I am Ashe. But I am no one's dream, named after no one, no roots, branches, or leaves avalanching into answers when I swam in the soft belly of sobbing pain, spanked on the calfskin drum, plucked with fat, hot fingered twang. My name is a banjo, a Geechee cape, Nana's sweaty nape. I belong to a place I never knew, empty tin can on a street corner, longing for the clink of God's voice. Ashe, ashe, amen, amen, a woman, a baby girl breached in middle passage where my ancestors' names drowned and God was waiting. So that is, my name is a banjo. And with that, I think I'm close to my time. I don't know if you guys want more or, thank you. I'm reading some of the comments. Oh, oh, oh my goodness. More, okay. So with that, let's see, I want to do just one more because I don't want to go over my time because I want to hear the open mic readers. I love listening as much as I love writing, and as much as I love, I think I'll do my other, it's not, I always want to leave on, I'm debating between my Spike Lee poem. I know I've written it, I've read it like a gajillion times, but I just really love his work and who he is, and he's so controversial, but I'm gonna flip it. And I'm gonna read another adoption poem. And this is another myth that I have for myself in imagining where I came from. And this is from Sharon Olds, after Sharon Olds. I go back to the middle of your kiss, an adoption origin story. They're in their 20s, kissing outside a pool hall. Big D is Daddy's regiment nickname. Well creased, smooth edged, 6'1" with a son, Mississippi blues. My mother is New Mexico brown, 5'3", loves to sway her hips to any music that hits her ears. That's how older bro and sis came to be. She wraps her legs round his waist. He blows a soft something that sounds like yes in her ear. I want to stop them, send her back home, send him back to the barracks. I want to shout, you will be made to do things you will regret. He won't be there with sturdy shoulders soldiering to protect you. He will go AWOL without intent to desert. You will have to give away your third child, but won't be able to tell him. I want to wedge myself between your full lips and say, stop. But there is a father from the West Indies and a mother from Ohio waiting for me, and I need to be here. So I am here, and I want to thank you for coming and for your kind comments in the chat, and for Inlandia making this possible.
Thank you so much, Romaine. I do want to note you've got 3 questions in the chat. or in the Q&A. Do you want to address them now or you want to do it after the open mic?
Um,
I don't know.
oh,
It's in the Q&A, so I don't know if you can see that.
yes, I can see it. I just pulled it up. Oh my goodness. How many people do we have in the open mic?
We have 5 or 6. I haven't noted if everyone is here who signed up. So we're doing okay on time.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and answer these really quickly. Lydia asked, when do you find time to write and how does your writing ritual center you? And I write all the time. I have scraps of poems everywhere, which is maddening. So I just rewrote 3 of the poems or tweaked them this afternoon after school. So thank you for asking that. Um, I sing all the time too. I don't know if anybody else does that. I make up songs to just about everything. And so some of those songs turn into poems. Let's see, James Coates asked, have you found it hard to write about current events because of the pandemic quarantine? And no, I haven't found it hard to write about current events. One of the things, and I think I've been a news junkie, as you heard in my first poem, Profile August 1965, I was barely able to understand anything, but I've always been a news analyst. And so I'm constantly engaged in it. I do find myself weeping a lot. And I do find myself, and I have quite a few poems that are more magical realism lately because of I'm hurting so much from just everything that's gone on. Purgatory Has an Address is an intriguing title. Is there a backstory to it? There is a backstory to it, and there is a poem named that has that title proper. And if there's time after the open mic, I can share that with you, but I don't want to take up time with that. I guess I can tell you really quickly because I don't want to take up any more time. But I don't want to explain the poem either. Maybe you'll have to get the book. See, Joseph up. Hey, Joseph, you showed up. What? He's going to be in Poetry Out Loud this Saturday. He's one of my AP Lit students. What do you think it is about poetry that makes it uniquely effective in addressing socio-political issues? Thank you. What do you think it is about poetry that makes it uniquely effective? I'm going to, oh, hi, Abigail. Both of you guys are here. Yes. So you can give me some feedback since I'm always giving you feedback on how you do with your poems, with the poems that you're reciting. I've had an experience this past year. We read Invisible Man, and with Invisible Man, the N-word is used in there. There's actually this huge scene where they're going back and forth with that N-word. And we didn't seem to have a problem with that N-word. And then we read a poem called Baltimore, and it's only used once, but it hurts. It hurts like it hurts that young boy that encountered it. And we had a big conversation about it it lasted through lunch about the N-word and the impact that it has on us. And yes, Baltimore is so powerful. And what I asked the class, they really taught me something about the power of poetry because I said, we just got through reading Invisible Man and that didn't seem to be a problem. And yet with this poem, it really is a problem. What's the difference? And they said that the N-word was really contextualized in Invisible Man. So they were ready for it. In Baltimore, poetry is so concise and trying not to have extraneous words so that you can feel the experience or relate to the experience makes poems of witness, because that's a poem of witness, whether it happened to you or somebody else, makes it that much more powerful. And so I learned something about just how powerful from, and I've been teaching almost 20 years and that's never happened. So I think it's the economy of language and the close attention to diction that makes it really effective in addressing sociopolitical issues. Thank you for that question, Joseph. And I'm ready for open mic, so I can sit back now. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your questions and your comments and for coming.
Thank you, Romaine. I've had chills. That really was incredible. And so I'm really glad we were able to bring you back and give you an entire hour to read us your poems. I think we could have kept going. We have a few names on our list for open mic. I'd like to, I'm going to read off your names. And if you could do me this favor, use the raise hand function so that I can spot you in the list. And one at a time, I will call on you. I will promote you to panelist so we can see you and hear you. And then I'll put you back in the audience when you're done reading your poem. So do we have with us Malika Rahman? I don't see Malika on the list. So, but if you are here under a different name, please use that raise your hand function. Jesse Jaron. Jesse, I know I saw you here. Got it. I see your hand up. Mr. Loving Words. I love your name tonight. You know who you are. Raise your hand so I can see you in the audience. There we go. Okay. Ginger Galloway. Ginger. And Robert Merrill. Robert, raise your hand if you're still here. Got it. And Cindi Neisinger. Oh, Robert, leave your hand raised. Yeah, got it. That way I can find you guys really easily. So then without further ado, it looks like our first reader didn't make it, but I'm going to introduce Mr. Loving Words as our first reader. So I'm going to promote you. So we should see you in a sec. And
hello.
Welcome. Hi.
Hi. Happy to be here. So 5 minutes. I'd like to share this poem I wrote recently about the Black Lives Matter protests in the middle of 2020. The title is Give Me Liberty or Else, and it is a sestina. Streets turn broken levees and people flood furious. A hurricane thrashing equality's brittle conscience. Thunder cries out for the voiceless, no justice, no peace. We sing of freedom from terrorism. The country's pulse, a powder keg ready to explode. So young and old take to the streets, armed with their courage in hopes to fight for a future, but are met with tyranny's shrapnel. We bear witness to oppression, inhale smoke and ate shrapnel. Peaceful protest in state after state met violence. Fed up and furious with the current conditions, we took a stand, marched courageous hand in hand, speaking of change, so loud that even thunder cracked a smile. Tensions reaching a boiling point, pressure must explode. I don't know any revolutions won without a bloody fight for freedom. We've been dying. What is it to sacrifice our life to kiss the lips of freedom? Are we not at war? Haven't you seen the child soldiers filled with shrapnel? I've seen the mothers crying, fathers holding hurt in, wanting to explode, ready to unload a whole holy clip of vengeance, blind and furious. There is only so much grief the body can handle before thunder invites lightning to burn down the structure. This is the time for courage, when pain gives birth to flames, scorch illness out of the body. Courage is the only thing left when we look in the mirror, find our freedom when we dig through the ashes, because it doesn't burn like thunderous lies they have forced us to swallow. Shards of metal shrapnel every time we ask for peace and the answer changes. How don't we turn furious? Perpetually in fight or flight, every inch of this land is a mine primed to explode. When wearing our bodies is aggressive, every mind is a weapon ready to explode. We are in a battle for our lives and every soul matters. So have the courage to stand up for justice. Feels as if we're kneeling on their necks. Furious, they look for ways to put us back in our place, lock away our freedom, to break that spirit, silence that power, let them feel our shrapnel. Ask who turned us dangerous, pulled our pin and threw us to become thunder, clearing the crowd with our bomb. I promise they can't destroy thunder. Even if it feels like no charge is filed, becomes a can of tear gas exploding in our faces. How dare we see what is happening and pull the shrapnel fragments from our eyes and scream of the abuse. United in courage is the last thing oppressors want the masses to do, to recognize that freedom doesn't exist unless all have access to it. So prepare for a fight furious. This thunder is not a performance. Our bones will become shrapnel, furiously bursting out the coffins they put our ancestors in, explode in their house of cards, courageously demanding freedom and justice, or else. So thank you for that one. I have a short one. I think I have enough time to read that one.
Okay.
It is a Pantun. It's titled Terror Squad. You don't belong here, boy. But South LA is my neighborhood. You know I run these streets. If I see you again, pow, the end. South LA is my neighborhood, but it has never felt like a safe home. If I see him again, pow, my end. I've seen his gang in blue do it. Here has never felt like a safe home. Terrorized when we walk out the door, I've seen his gang in blue do it. Murder a man on the block. Terrorized when I walk out the door, I lived through the days praying. Saw a man murdered on the block and no justice was served. Praying I lived through the day, they pull up, jump out with pistols and serve no justice. Bullies with protected badges, they pull up and pull out pistols. I know you run these streets. Protected bullies with badges. Boy, you don't belong here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for that great set there. So next up, we have Jesse Jaron. So welcome, Jesse. Let's see. Just waiting for Jesse. You'll have to turn your camera on.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I just wanted to read a poem by Denez Smith. I just know that it's a poem that I return to. I know it was published in 2017, but it's obviously so timely and relevant. And just thank you for this space and opportunity to share it, whether or not you're familiar with it. Okay, so it is Dear White America. I've left Earth in search of darker planets, a solar system revolving too near a black hole. I've left in search of a new God. I do not trust the God you have given us. My grandmother's hallelujah is only outdone by the fear she nurses every time the blood-fat summer swallows another child who used to sing in the choir, "Take your God back." Though his songs are beautiful, his miracles are inconsistent. I want the fate of Lazarus for Renisha, want Chucky, Bo, Meech, Trayvon, Sean, and Jonala risen 3 days after their entombing. Their ghosts regifted flesh and blood, their flesh and blood regifted their children. I've left Earth. I am equal parts sick of your go back to Africa, and I just don't see race. Neither did the poplar tree. We did not build your boats, though we did leave a trail of kin to guide us home. We did not build your prisons, though we did, and we fill them too. We did not ask to be part of your America. Though are we not America? Her joints brittle and dragging a ripped gown through Oakland, I can't stand your ground. I'm sick of calling your recklessness the law. Each night I count my brothers, and in the morning when some do not survive to be counted, I count the holes they leave. I reach for Black folks and touch only air. Your master magic trick, America. Now he's breathing, now he don't. Abracadabra, white bread voodoo. Sorcery you claim not to practice, hand my cousin a pistol to do your work. I tried, white people, I tried to love you, but you spent my brother's funeral making plans for brunch, talking too loud next to his bones. You took one look at the river, plump with the body of boy after girl after sweet boy, and asked, why does it always have to be about race? Because you made it that way. Because you put an asterisk on my sister's gorgeous face, call her pretty for a Black girl. Because Black girls go missing without so much as a whisper of where. Because there are no Amber Alerts for amber-skinned girls. Because Jordan boomed. Because Emmett whistled. Because Huey P. spoke. Because Martin preached. Because Black boys can always be too loud to live. Because it's taken my papa's and my grandma's time, my father's time, my mother's time, my aunt's time, my uncle's time, my brother's and my sister's time. How much time do you want for your progress? I've left Earth to find a place where my kin can be safe, where Black people ain't but people the same color as the good wet earth until that means something. Until then, I bid you well, I bid you war, I bid you our lives to gamble with no more. I've left Earth and I am touching everything you beg your telescopes to show you. I'm giving the stars their right names, and this life, this new story and history you cannot steal or sell or cast overboard or hang or beat or drown or own or redline or shackle or silence or cheat or choke or cover up or jail or shoot or jail or shoot or jail or shoot or ruin. This, if only this one, is ours. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. That was powerful. I have to pick up that book. I can't believe I haven't read it. So I'm going to bring up Ginger Galloway, if you are ready. Here we go. Now, Ginger, turn your camera on because we can't see you.
Oh, my camera.
Ah, got it. Okay.
There I am. Okay.
Yes.
Let me move this. I'm in the kitchen. I'm cooking. I'm gonna try to read 2 and a third if I have enough time. I danced because the music was loud and the liquor was free. Thick hips swaying and bouncing, fingers popping mint gum on the breath. I danced with wild abandon because as long as the music played, I didn't have to listen to my own heartbeat. The sound that might remind me of borrowed time, angels waiting to take me home on the bars of old Negro spirituals, streets paved with the prayers and hopes of the ancestors. I danced, and he held on to me like it was the last night of a soldier's leave. Him loving me like the dark outside of the beating bass would swallow him whole. I caught the eye of the DJ who knew to keep the music playing, the distraction that we desperately needed simply to live. loud and heavy sweat dripping from hot bodies and running white streaks down painted walls, songs running into one another, feet that marched, fists that brushed against afro raised, lips that spoke words that could not be heard. If only someone could turn down the music and stop dancing long enough to see I can't catch my breath. Recorded beats hitting me like hot lead, and still I danced, the sound making me forget, each step making me tired, and the liquor helping me to sleep. The second poem I'm going to read, we wrote in Butterflies Can Holler with Lydia. The bed isn't made, disheveled and upset, looking like chitlins. I don't like them, even with Louisiana hot. The scent of your cologne, the pillows have the mark of hair grease and deodorant, some decoration and some for sleep. My countenance tied up in the wrinkled sheets. Nothing about this bed is like it used to be. The crack of the box spring, the slant to one side, the place where my body lies, the parts of me thicker, limbs that don't bend and twist, heartbeats whose rhythm has lost their sync, and the bed isn't made. My countenance tied up in the wrinkled sheets. You pulled me close and told me how beautiful I looked to you, taking me wholly in big hands, wrapped in the might of your arms, pillows tossed to the floor, kicking away damp covers. My countenance tied up in the wrinkled sheets. And the last one is from my book, The Lynching of Sarah Elizabeth, and this one is called Sarah's Dream. They used to tease me about my skin, black and pockmarked, until I would cry and run away. Grandma's house was down the road. She would meet me at the door, tears running down my face. She never reprimanded them. It was part of growing up, she would say, part of becoming who you are. Her dark hands would wipe lines of water from my cheeks, and her lips would pop against my forehead. She wouldn't pacify me, just set me in the big chair, a bowl of peas that needed shucking. Before dark, she would make me a sandwich, potted meat, bread from her oven, and send me home. I would walk back slow, kicking dirt and rocks, never settled in my soul. Thank you.
Thank you, Ginger. That was wonderful. So next up, I'm going to bring up Cindi Neisinger. So welcome, Cindi. And Cindi, you'll need to turn your camera on too if it's off, so we can see.
Hello. Hi. Let's see. Hey, everyone. I don't know about you, but this last year, I have never been more grateful to take a deep breath. My poem is called O2 Needed, a Year of No Air. Can I buy a ventilator? No family allowed. They die alone, coughing and gasping while lying prone. The nurses use their limp fingerprints to unlock their phone. FaceTime one last time. Last year, George was murdered, begging for air. Mama, I can't breathe. A year of no air. Shit, someone blamed the brave girl recording and not the police. An uprising shut that down. The whole world stomped the ground. No justice, no peace. We painted on asphalt what burned in our hearts. Black Lives Matter echoed and bounced off graffitied walls. Smoke bombs and masks, we can't breathe. An air of arrogance and flatulence of words from higher ups in DC, a failed coup. 5 took their last breath so democracy could prevail. Vaccinations roll out slowly. The virus is back full of vengeance and fury. Are you ready for round 3? Some think it's a hoax. They don't wear a mask. Well, we argued, it mutated. Now they say where to. I hope you bought a ventilator because soon there will be a demand. Let's hope they get ordered. Seems like another year of no air. That's it.
Thank you, Cindi. And next up, I had missed one of our open mic readers, so I'm going to bring him up now, Eric DeVaughnn, and then we'll close it out with Robert Merrill. Oh, you're sideways.
How's this?
Good.
All right, thank you for bringing me on. I have 2 quick poems. Hopefully they're quick. First, I just added this title, so if you get a better idea for a title, hit me up, let me know. The Thing About Boxes. In a warehouse bristling and bustled against the season's yule, a pallet of boxes is stacked square with long overlapping sides. From the hall down the center of this low slung monument, smiling in this middle space, my daughter's face cast back up at me, proud of this game she has wrought. The warehouse and I conjure her often like this, a soft, happy, and full of play. Some days it is the only of her I have. Twice last week, she refused the time a judge declared me worthy of claiming. And although she is only this many, excluding her thumb, and this is only a new game she has invented, having discovered her voice, willful and brash, the best new hiding place. And although I know I should laugh and gather her up a wriggling bouquet of dandelion blown loose, I too feel the press on all sides and can't for the life of me see what she loves so much about sinking into spaces with barely room to breathe. Thank you. This last piece is a sonnet. Thank you. Reason with a capital T. Reason with a capital T, and capital is spelled with an O. How thin can one assume the line was drawn? A deep and navy blue cut through some soil, too planned and coordinated for the house, to stand before a crimson tidal wave of raving men and women born by blood, soaked and set in wild and teeming ways. When days returned to darkness, pressing thick against our prayers and unaware, we knelt upon the toiling task of history revealed, and see how easily the stripes sewn into shifting flags can be replaced and trampled in the halls where they would lie. How thin the blue we knew could only be revered till drawn between country and me. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. That was great. So our final open mic reader for tonight is Robert Merrill. So we should see him momentarily. And Robert, if your camera's off, you'll need to turn it on.
Just crashed, and now it's back.
Oh, hello. Okay, good.
Hello, everybody. This first piece is about a group of us were talking at work in the break room about systemic racism, and a white middle-class woman stuck her nose into the conversation and said, "My life's been hard and no one's ever had a march for me." The piece is called Alarm. Yesterday, I did not run down the street shouting, "Your house is not on fire." Today, I did not run down the street shouting, your house is not on fire. Be calm. Your house is not on fire. But when the day comes that flames threaten the bones of your house, the flesh of your home, I will shout warning. I will carry buckets. I will drag hoses. I will help you escape through jagged windows, billowing dragon's breath. On that day, I vow I will give you more than my thoughts and prayers. Do you understand why I must shout now? Black Lives Matter. And the other piece is about privilege. Made in America, a poem of appropriation. I drive down my street in my car. Its German DNA translated as BMW. Italian leather supples my body. Austrian waltzes time my turns. I arrive at my Mediterranean bungalow, cut across the Bermuda grass, pass through the Spanish oak entry, drop my keys in the Navajo basket, walk over the Persian carpet, click on the Samsung, and CNN shouts out news of a world I don't recognize. In my room, I take off my Honduras shoes, my Egypt socks, my Philippines belt, my China pants, my Ecuador shirt, all fall at my feet. The Indonesian mirror reflects my whiteness and a small black spot alarms me. But then I realize and relax. It's just a smudge I easily wipe away. I hurry to get my privilege on the hanger before it wrinkles, but then I remember and relax. It's iron-free and stain repellent and virtually takes care of itself. Redressed in a Japanese robe with an Argentinian Malbec in hand, I settle back into my Pakistani couch and listen to the list from the news. New York, Minneapolis, Tulsa, Baltimore, Ferguson, Phoenix, Cincinnati, Falcon Heights, Yonkers, Memphis, Los Angeles, Dallas, Atlanta, Dayton, Florence, Charlottesville, Brunswick, Riverside. Also foreign, yet so exceptionally American. Wearied, I change the channel and catch a Tyler Perry movie. That's it.
Thank you, Robert. So let's see, how do I need to come back. And you guys have been amazing. This really has been just a wonderful reading. Romaine, I can't say thank you enough. I know we've talked a couple times tonight about other things that are going on. So I just want to, Ginger mentioned Lydia Theon Wear Eyes, but even Butterflies Can Holler workshop. So if we have any Black women in the audience who would be interested in a workshop that will help you channel your rage, please just send me an email or take a look. If you can read, it's tinyurl.com/butterflies can holler, HOLLAR, to register for the workshop. We've got 3 weeks left. It's free and open to anyone who identifies as a Black woman. And we also have next, coming up just this weekend on Saturday, you met Ginger in the open mic. Ginger is the founder of the African American Book Festival, Inland Empire, and we're hosting an author showcase of authors who are going to be featured in the upcoming African American Book Festival, which is right now it's in the planning stages, but this is a good way to get a taste of the authors who will be present for that. And Ginger will be in conversation with each of them. And in fact, you met another during the open mic, James Coates, AKA Mr. Loving Words. So please do check it out. RSVP at tinyurl.com/AABFIE showcase. Again, free, and we hope to see you there. And thank you all And thank you to the Riverside Public Library, which continues to sponsor these events, even in this virtual setting. And thank you to the California Arts Council, which also has provided sponsorship for these and other programs, and the National Endowment for the Arts. So we will see you again here. And in the meantime, be well, stay safe, and write poetry.